Hey guys, it's Etaniel here. Welcome to this new Magicka Dragon Knight build video for one Tamriel update. Before I start, I just want to thank my guildmates in Kite Squad who've been helping me farm all this stuff and get the AP boxes. It's been quite a pain, so thank you guys a lot. I have two builds to show you today. They're pretty similar, and they have two different goals in mind. The first one is going to be more about sustaining, and the second one is more about offense and killing your targets fast. Let's go straight to the stats of the first build. So, there you have them. The spell damage is a bit low. Once again, we're more about sustaining than killing in a burst way. Magicka recovery is low as well, and you'll see that you'll see why in a second. The rest of the stats are pretty decent. The decent base stats. I'm not having any special bonuses on this campaign, so you'll have 30k health all the time and 35k Magicka, almost 19k stamina, pretty high resistances as well, unbuffed, and I am using tri-stat food plus stage 4 vampirism and the mage the mage Mundus Stone, sorry. The sets that I'm using. Okay, the first one is Desert Rose, which explains why my Magicka recovery is very low. And we're going to compensate that mostly with the 5th bonus that gives you a ton of Magicka back at every proc. The proc can happen every second, so your Magicka can go up quite fast when you're outnumbered. The second set I'm using is blackrose. Same thing as Desert Rose. This set is all about getting hit, so it's quite fitting for a Magicka DK in my opinion. And with both these sets, your stats are just going to stay up really the entire fight pretty much. You're going to have a lot of stats. The jewelry I'm using, so it's Desert Rose, so I have Desert Rose weapon and shield and jewelry. I'm using 1 spell damage glyph, 1 cost reduction glyph, and 1 recovery glyph. For my glyphs here, I have tri-stat glyphs on the chest, on the legs, the Undaunted set, Skoria. You can go for Skoria, Grothdar, or even Bloodspawn if you just want to sustain even more. I decided to go for Skoria because I still want to be able to kill targets when I'm solo, and this is going to give you the burst that you're missing from the rest of your build, and that's going to help a lot, more than Grothdar in solo situations. The potions that I'm using, right, there's 3 things you need. Immovability potions, you need 2 different types of them. You're going to need Magicka and health ones, and stamina and health ones. And the reason for that is that a lot of situations, your stats are not going to evolve the same way, and sometimes you're getting more stamina than Magicka because Desert Rose is proccing a lot more, and some other times procs are not going to happen, and you're going to need Magicka, and you're not going to be blocking, so your stamina is going to stay up. Depends on the situation, so have both of them ready, and also have regular tri-stats just in case if you want to be just more offensive and keep all your stats up at the same time. So with this setup, your whip tooltip is quite low, 7k, but it's still decent. Still pull out a decent damage with that. I'm going to go over the skills real quick now. First, fossilize your main stun. It's really strong because it goes through dodge, through block, and everything. So you can pretty much time your bursts using this. You can actually gap close Night Blades with this as well when they're roll dodging away. Second skill is Burning Talons. I prefer this more over the other because you're going to need more dots to proc your Skoria. And also you need all the damage you can get. Flame Lash, no brainer here. Deep Breath, I really prefer this more over the Draw Essence one. Simply because Desert Rose is giving us enough Magicka anyways as it is. And interrupting Jesus Beams and Reses is really important. Igneous Shield on this bar, I pretty much use this to buff my Deep Breath when I'm in crappy situations, taking a lot of damage, so you can live through burst just spamming these 2 skills, boosting your Deep Breath with the 25% of major mending. It also gives you stamina back when you're out of stamina and you have no potions or ultimate to use. So that'll be really helpful before you start a fight and you're kiting, and you can lost people and get your stamina back. The ultimate is Shooting Star. So I don't have the morph yet. This character is relatively new, but morph you want to go for is Shooting Star. So keep the flame damage and keep the ultimate regen bonus on targets hit. Second bar, I am using Elusive Mist. You use this stuff all the time to relocate yourself, to get into better positions, to avoid damage when you're taking something like a bow ultimate or even a Eye of the Storm, which is pretty common these days. Just mist out of there, and you're reducing your damage taken by 75%, so that's huge. And the good part about this is that since you have low regen and your Magicka sustain is not coming from regeneration, but more from Desert Rose and Black Rose, Elusive Mist just works really well with that, because you're going to get hit through the mist, and you're going to get Magicka back while you're in mist form, which doesn't happen if you have 5 Magicka regen. Second skill is Burning Embers. This skill is ridiculously strong. The heal you can get out of one cast is amazing, so I usually try to put this on as many targets as I can during a fight, and that'll give me heal procs all during the entire fight. It's really an amazing skill to have. It has decent damage as well. Coagulating Blood. So this is the crappy skill, the crappy Dragon Blood, but you have no choice but to use that, simply because you don't have an oh shit heal if you don't have that, and you have to keep Sword and Shield on both bars if you want to get the 2 set bonuses at all times, so you can't go for a Healing Ward for you. So it sucks. I hope it gets buffed soon, but you have to use it anyways. It's the only solution right now, in my opinion, and my playstyle. Fourth skill, Engulfing Flames. You can replace that with Entropy if you want to get the major sorcery buff. It depends on which you want to play. I like Engulfing Flames because it does AoE damage, 10% additional damage, all flame attacks. Last skill is Volatile Armor. This skill is super strong. You buff both your resistances by a lot, and you actually do quite a bit of return damage against melee targets. I can get killing blows with this skill. It's pretty crazy. It's also your main skill when you want to reveal stealthing enemies. You can just go around, spam that crap, and the AoE will reveal Nightblades to you. Pretty cool. And last skill, I'm a vampire, so of course Devouring Swarm. That's not going to be used when you want to burst people down, but more when you want to survive. So this might be a bit more useful in a group setup when you're trying to tank people while your group mates do the damage. Hold them with your talons, and then keep Devouring Swarm on you, so you're going to be full health all the time. Alright, for the second build, pretty much the same thing, except you replace Blackrose with rattlecage. This set will give you major sorcery, so you don't even have to put Entropy on your bar anymore. Just keep Engulfing Flames. And yeah, your spell damage is going to go way higher. You're at 2.4k, so that's 1k additional spell damage. And keep in mind this is going to go up even more with the heavy armor passive Wrath, and with the glyph that I'm using on the weapons that I didn't show you earlier. So the spell damage proc 5 seconds. For this setup, and the other one, I forgot to tell you, but you're using 5 pieces of heavy armor, 1 piece of light armor, and 1 piece of medium armor for the Undaunted passives. You're going to do that on both builds, just because the stat gain is quite nice. I think it's more valuable to have the stat gain than to have additional heavy armor pieces for the additional resistance. So with this setup, you can go for a Rattlecage shield, or, well, as long as you have 1 weapon of each, you're fine. So depending on your drops, use whatever you can get. And you can have 1 piece of light armor here from the Desert Rose set. It also depends on what you can use for Undaunted sets. You know, just put it how you can. The only thing that needs to stay here is probably the Desert Rose jewelry, because you don't want to be having more than 2 light armor pieces. You have the 5 heavy armor pieces to keep the heavy armor passives. So the difference in stats, it's not that much different. Have a bit less stamina with this glyph setup, because I'm being a lot more offensive. Health is the same, Magicka is a bit higher, and yeah, the main difference is the spell damage. You're going to be hitting people really hard with this setup. So just go full offense, and you're going to drop people really, really fast. The difference in skills, there's absolutely none. So the only thing you could switch out when you go for the Blackrose setup is Engulfing Flames for Entropy, I guess. Might have noticed I'm not using Reflective Scales or Dragonfire Scales. That's because it's incredibly buggy, and it's just not as strong as it used to be. These days, when I'm under heavy projectile pressure, I just use Mist Form, and it's just way more efficient. You're not going to get stunned by the crystal fragments when you're under this. Poison injections are not going to do that much damage. And yeah, you have to get used to using that skill all the time anyways to tank out ultimates, soul assaults, all that stuff. So yeah, the skills aren't as useful as they used to be. And anyways, if you're using Desert Rose and Black Rose, you get all your sustain from getting hit, so might as well not reflect those projectiles because they're going to get you stats. I think I covered everything. So now for the champion points. I'm not really going to go into detail as to why I put them there, but have a look real quick. Skip through these. I didn't put many points into Thaumaturge because I don't think this passive is really worth it. I think you get more damage anyways from putting all your points into Elemental Expert and Erosion. So I just put a couple points here to get a few easy percentages extra on my dots. That's it. We're here, make sure you have 75 points for this passive right here. The Unchained passive, it's not really necessary because you're not using any stamina skills. So yeah, go for 120 points in here. And yep, that's it for the champion points. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. These are only 2 setups. There are plenty of options in this patch. Plenty of DKs that have been using a lot of different stuff. There's really a lot of stuff to do and try out. So I'm not saying this is the best setup. I'm just saying it's the best I've found so far. I still need to try Trainee, for example. And yeah, I've been mostly using Black Rose, Desert Rose. And the cool part about this is that both these sets are all based on the damage you're going to take, so it works as well on Azura. Just make sure you have one additional cost reduction. It'll be fine. So I hope you enjoyed this build. Let me know if you try it out how it feels. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.